In this bulletin, Christians in Iraq unable to celebrate communion. 1/4 of pastors suffer mental illness. And playing ping pong to fight slavery.
This is InFocus Christian News and Current Affairs.
Welcome to the program this week. It's great to have you with us. As always, we're joined by Danielle Sinnott. How are you, Danielle?
I'm feeling fantastic. Jared, how are you?
I'm also fantastic. Fantastically fine. But this week, we have a fantastic program.
We do.
Sue Rad is going to talk to us about the benefits of psyllium. Just between you and me, I'm not 100% sure what psyllium is.
Oh, I'll let Sue fill you in on that, Jared, but I'll give you a bit of a hint. It's to do with healthy bowels.
That's an important thing. The doc is also here talking about x-rays.
He is. No glowing in the dark this week, but definitely speaking about x-rays.
We hope we won't be glowing in the dark. And the mystery interview today, I'm not going to tell you what it is right now, but it's very exciting. But first, over to you for the news, Danielle.
Thanks, Jared. First up, we have Kent Kingston reporting from Solomon Islands.
Just a couple of weeks ago, a remote clinic on the island of Columbunga was badly in need of repair, but thanks to an enthusiastic team of Australians, things are now looking a whole lot better.
Through the Adopt a Clinic program, local churches in Australia and New Zealand are able to partner with clinics in rural and remote areas of the South Pacific to ensure they're kept up to scratch.
Today was actually pretty hectic. We're all starting to get a bit like, oh my goodness, I'm ready for Sabbath. But yeah, no, it was really good. We actually accomplished a lot. Sick of painting.
Thanks to the team from the Hillview Adventist Church in New South Wales, the clinic at Kukundu is now painted inside and out and has a covered walkway between buildings.
The results and the impact of the Adopt a Clinic has been enormous, has been amazing. Churches go there with their teams. They come back different people, but then on ground there's huge impact in the life of the community.
For the first time in 2,000 years, Christians in northern Iraq have not been able to celebrate communion. According to the Telegraph, Islamic State militants have taken over churches in the Nineveh region of northern Iraq and begun using them as offices. They have also replaced crosses on the outside of buildings with the militant group's black flag. Vicar of the only Anglican church in Iraq, Canon Andrew White, said the situation is so bad that every single Christian wants to leave. The conflict has already forced approximately 200,000 Christians from their homes in northern Iraq. A public school in California has allegedly removed all of the Christian books from their library, including books from Christian authors and publishers. According to Christian Post, Pacific Justice Institute has written to the Springs charter schools, urging them to rethink their decision or face further legal action. Among the books removed was The Hiding Place, a best-selling book by Corrie ten Boom, about how her Christian family hid Jews during the Holocaust. School Superintendent Kathleen Hermsmeyer claims that the school does not purchase sectarian educational materials and does not allow sectarian materials. However, she said if Christian publishers produce secular material, that will be allowed. The case is ongoing. Pastors are just as likely to suffer from mental illness as their members, according to a Lifeway research survey commissioned by Focus on the Family. 1/4 of the 1,000 Protestant pastors surveyed report personally struggling with a mental illness. What's more, 66% rarely or never mention mental health issues from the pulpit, and only 28% of church families are aware that churches have a list of mental health resources.
So many ministers depressed. We think that's a surprise, but they're ordinary people, and more than that, they're people who are helping other people, which is so draining. Emotional, mental issues, big issue. And our Adventist Health Department have actually voted recently that going forward, this will be a special area of emphasis.
Thousands of Christians around the world have attended prayer vigils for the release of an imprisoned Iranian-American pastor. Pastor Saeed Abedini was imprisoned for his work among house churches in Iran. The first vigil was held in Washington, D.C. and was led by famous evangelist Franklin Graham and Saeed's wife Nagmeh on September 25th. September 26 marked the second anniversary of Pastor Saeed's imprisonment. The Be Heard Project, who coordinated the events, report that more than 27 countries will take part. A similar event was held last year. Leaders of Christian denominations around the world are currently wrestling with the question of women's ordination. However, the president of the Seventh-day Adventist Church says members should look into what the Bible says about the topic for themselves. In a recent interview, Dr. Ted Wilson also asked members to pray for God's guidance as the church looks to establish an official position on the subject at its General Conference session in 2015. Earlier this year, biblical research committees of the Adventist Church's 13 administrative regions submitted their recommendations on women's ordination, with recommendations split. Despite the division, church leaders have clearly stated their willingness to accept the decision made by the worldwide church. Microsoft has come to the aid of World Vision Australia in its ongoing fight against global poverty. According to Christian Today, the tech giants will supply $4 million in software to the Christian Humanitarian Agency, allowing the organisation to cut its administration costs. The donation is the latest offering in Microsoft's ongoing support of Australian charities. Over the past 3 years, the tech group has contributed more than $120 million in software to not-for-profit organisations through its citizenship program. A major evangelistic series in Vanuatu has yielded impressive results, with more than 2,000 people baptised at the conclusion of the campaign. Crowds of up to 12,000 people gathered in Port Vila during the 3-week campaign, with many more tuning in to the series on free-to-air television, radio and online. Among those baptised were 18 low-risk prisoners who were allowed to take part in the baptism after following the series on Hope Channel. The Hope for Port Vila campaign was organised by the local mission of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. A reconciliation service was held during the revival meetings to welcome the Sorovango breakaway group back to the church. Prostitution and pornography, slavery and sexual exploitation. These are all heavy issues, but now Aussie blokes are joining the fight by playing ping pong. The first ping-pong-a-thon was held in 2011 when 15 men came together and played table tennis for 24 hours straight. The event raised $10,000, which supported 2 organisations in Thailand that fight sex trafficking and exploitation. During October and November, there are 25 ping-pong-a-thons scheduled around Australia. Organisers hope that in 2015 there will be international events as well. Well, that's the news for this week. How about that, Jared, playing ping pong for a great cause?
Seems like a great idea, Danielle. I know we play at work sometimes,
Yeah.
Get the paddles out at lunchtime.
We do.
But, 24 hours, I'm not sure if my arm could cope with that. But it is a good thing to get men involved in some of these issues that sometimes men contribute to.
Yeah.
And it raises awareness and it raises a lot of money. So it's a really good thing.
Yeah, and very inclusive.
That's right. We'll be right back after this break.